Mick Lynch has a habit of getting under journalists' skin, but now one of them has had a change of heart. Ian Dale is a former Tory advisor who now hosts LBC's weekday evening show, and he's written in Prospect magazine that Mick Lynch is right. So the background for the change of heart is that in recent months, Ian Dale has broken his hip and damaged his knee. And in Prospect magazine, he writes this. One of the positive things about breaking a knee and a hip within 9 months, and believe me, I have searched for crumbs of comfort, is that you learn what it's like on public transport for people who are permanently disabled. You learn how fantastic railway station staff are in their ability to anticipate your needs. You learn that train guards have a function other than to check that people have tickets. In short, you learn that trade union leader Mick Lynch, who everyone thinks is my lookalike, is right. Before my accidents, I argued that in the modern age, we don't need train guards or station staff. I now know better. Sorry. I'm a big fan of people recognizing when they're wrong and apologizing. I suppose at the same time, I don't want to make this about Ian Dale because I think Ian Dale has done the right thing in, sort of coming out and saying publicly he got this wrong. But the whole political class in this country seems to have completely ignored this argument, which, Ian Dale is not the first person to make this argument, right? There are many people in this country who have permanent disabilities, and they haven't exactly been silent about the fact that it's helpful to have guards on trains and attendants on stations. But for some reason, no one has listened to them. Obviously, on this show, we talk a lot about how it's actually very important to have a well-staffed train service. The idea that a modern train service is one without any people is ridiculous. All the best quality train services, I've been to Germany, lots of people. I'm told that when you go to Japan, like the station is just full of people working there. And they are the places where people say those are the best quality public transport systems, because it's nice to have people around who you can ask questions to. It's nice, even if you're someone like myself who doesn't have permanent disabilities, to be able to ask someone questions or ask them for help if you need it. If you're someone with a permanent disability, then it's not just nice, it's necessary to have someone around who you can ask for support, obviously depending on what disability you have.
It's obviously welcome that he's changed his mind on this, Michael. It's a good thing. But it does say something quite interesting about, the I'm all right, Jack tendency of the Conservative Party. I'm all right, Jack. I don't need job seekers allowance. I've got a job. Those scroungers, cut it. Oh no, I'm unemployed. No, actually, no, I really want job seekers allowance. It should be higher. Why is it so low? I'm fit and healthy. NHS cuts, doesn't matter. I'm all right, Jack. They get, an illness. Oh no, fund the NHS. I was wrong. I'm not all right, Jack. And now we have it with this. Public rail. Oh, I thought fuck other people because I was fine. And now I'm one of those other people. Actually, I was wrong. The problem with that is, Michael, it's obviously very welcome. It's very welcome. And it's good when people publicly state they've changed their mind. Great, really good. We don't want to disincentivize that. It's really good. Really good. But clearly, you're not going to get everybody having that experience. So the idea that you can only arrive at those conclusions if you experience them yourselves is not going to create a social majority to say, well, let's have a guard on the train because it helps people with disabilities. Because not everybody will find themselves in that situation at the same time. Okay. Obviously, we will as we get older, but that's not how society works. And this is why a political philosopher called John Rawls created something called the veil of ignorance. How would you construct society if you didn't know who you were, you didn't know your gender, didn't know your race, didn't know your bodily abilities, how tall or short you are, how long you'll live, what chronic conditions you'll have? If you didn't know any of that, you were just this kind of pure thinking essence, devoid of human characteristics. How would you build society? You would build society in a quite profoundly different way to how we've done it. So I think that thought experiment of the veil of ignorance is hopefully the way that people will think about creating public services rather than having to fall on hard times themselves. Good, he's changed his mind, but not everybody is going to be unemployed at the same time. Not everybody's going to be suffering from a disability at the same time or not be able to access housing at the same time. Because, of course, once you've been through these things, you become an evangelist for social housing, guard on the train, job seekers allowance. But it's a daft way to build political arguments. I was wrong until I experienced this thing. How about you have the insight to think about what it's like to live in somebody else's shoes? And if you did live in their shoes, how would you build that service? This is something which Conservatives seem pathologically incapable of doing.